Thanks for joining us on 7 for 12 Live. A new look 7 for 12 Live. We're both in the same room and a little bit of a change of an appearance. So John's happy, Abby's happy. Hopefully England will be happy when you look at that surface. It's got a little bit of green grass on it. We're here at the Oval for the 4th Test match. We'll both be together for the first 3 days. Don't forget to like, subscribe and leave a review. Well, John, this is a happy hunting ground for me. I think I average about 170 with the bat, largely down to the fact that I only ever once here, which was very, very surprising. But we've got the surface. Oh, if we had an overhead conditions like this tomorrow morning, there's a lot of dark cloud. Imagine the pressure on Joe Root or Virat Kohli, who are very good at tosses. Can you imagine what we're going through their mind at this minute in time? England looks set to play a 4-seamers that we've talked about, never playing before. We don't want to get to be playing just 80-mile-an-hour bowlers. Looks like Wokes might come in for Curran. Wood is still possibly struggling. But if you're Joe Root tomorrow morning, you've got a surface like that and overhead conditions like this, John, I think I'd be very, very happy to bowl first.
Yeah, well, really? You'd bowl first? Because, of course, 2 years ago, the last time we were at a test here at the Oval was against Australia. Tim Payne was 2-1 up with just the Oval to play. He won the toss, and if you've seen the test on Amazon Prime, you'll know that Justin Langer, I think Steve Waugh was with him as well. They're all on the balcony. They saw that Tim Payne had won the toss. They're like, right, get your pads on, guys. What? We're going to have a bowl? And that, of course, let England back in. England won the test match 2-2. Australia should have won that series. They didn't win. Don't let anyone tell you that they won that series. They didn't. It was 2-2. They retained the Ashes, but they did not win the Ashes.
It's heavy, though. This is heavy. This is bowling conditions for me. Looking at the clouds, the heavy clouds. I'm here. There's a lot of people milling around the pitch. We're here for an event later on, and I've just come down the train with my good pal Matthew Hoggard. And if I must admit, me and Hoggy both said when we looked out before, Vaughan wins the toss here, we're going to bowl first. We were saying we'd bowl first on this. Captain Vaughan would want to bowl first on this.
Well, I tell you what, this is my ground, and two of my favourite. I've got a lifetime of memories at this ground, and two of my favourite memories of all time involve you, because I was here in 2005.
Yeah,
and Australia batted first, didn't they? Did Australia bat first? Yes, they did. Australia batted. No. England batted first.
We batted first, yeah.
But then 2009, didn't you take the final wicket to fall?
No, Hoggy, I took them 2-2 and then I got a hat-trick.
That's right, yeah.
Hoggy, Swanee took the final wicket, caught short leg.
That's right, yeah.
I remember being over in the corner and it was bizarre because I didn't know what to do. It was, honestly, I've never had a feeling like it because we were going to win the test match and you were going to win the test match from a large portion of that day. Australia needing 500, whatever, and it went down to late on in the day. I came back after tea. Me and Freddie came back onto the field for the last time, and I got them 2 wickets. And it's like, this is it. The game's over. What am I going to do? For the simple fact is, when you look at it, you remember in 2005, we didn't celebrate. We were in the dressing room.
Yeah,
the umpires took the bails off. So
I
never won the Ashes, celebrate in front of the whole crowd. I didn't know how to run around. I didn't know how to run around or just shake anybody's hands. And because I was so far away, I didn't get to the huddle for everything that was going on. But it was a magical experience and unbelievable memories because probably one of my best memories because my good pal Andrew Flintoff retired. One of the greats of English sport at the time, and what a series he had. And we didn't know what to do as a team and a unit because it was the first time we'd won the Ashes actually on the field.
Well, I was over there with some mates, and it's still on YouTube somewhere. We were absolutely crazy because you might have thought that England were going to win, but the Aussies have that hold over English cricket fans and players at times. But can you remember, it was until that run out, Freddie ran out Ricky Ponting. Yeah. Ponting and who did he put a punch? Hussey. They put on 200 or something. And suddenly they needed something like 230. They had 5 wickets remaining, and it was like, oh my God!
Hadn't dug in, didn't he? Brad hadn't dug in. When Ponting when Freddie ran Ponting out, I think it was set in the stars that Freddie had one final thing to do, And I mean, he hobbled to get the ball, and he ex-set at the throw.
Yeah, and he threw it like this, didn't he?
It was a sidearm throw.
Yeah.
I can still see it. I can still see it going past me because it actually went. The ball nearly went through me to hit the stumps, and it was like Freddie's one last hurrah in international cricket. I've still got something special in me, and hadn't dug in, then got caught about here off Strauss. He ran down the wicket off Swan.
But can't you remember as well? So Ponting was out, and then Clark, who'd had an amazing tournament, came in and he was stumped. He was run out from Strauss at short leg.
Matty Pryor did brilliantly because Pryor was going to field it, and then instead of getting in the way, he just dived straight over the top. More or less did a somersault over the top of Strauss so he could flick the stumps off. Hadden gets out, and then I got 2 and 2 running towards this way. Yeah. And the stand we're in now, family was above. And if you ever see it on YouTube, the footage again, I ran straight through everybody for the second one and ran towards the family because it was like I knew I was done. And when I went,
was one of your daughters, Abby? Was she?
Abby was there.
Yeah, it's got the haircut.
I had a bit shorter hair than this. Abby, the whole lot were just right above us here. And I remember standing both arms aloft in front of where the families were. And that was my moment of finished. And I probably should have gotten the hat trick, but Hilton now skipped it out. But still, special memories of this great ground, and it looks magnificent.
Well, that new stand. Oh. Well, you're doing a function with Matthew Hoggard up there. Tell you what, the view. So me and my dad always sit up there, which is it's the pavilion upper. That's where we used to watch our cricket and just chat about whatever. But the view from here, this new stand.
It's mega. I can't wait to go up and see what's happening because it looks absolutely mega. And sample what the Oval's got when it comes to alcohol and refreshments in the afternoon.
Yeah, by the way, he's going to be on a jolly for the next 3 days and says he's going to be doing this YouTube video.
No, I'm going to be sensible. I've got Hoggard.
We should be luck.
I've got Hoggard and Simon Jones today, and I've got Vaughan and Goff tomorrow and Friday. So
I'll be on my own.
I'll try and be sensible.
It's going to be the job. ask Normie. I never catch on. Right, so I will tell you what. Let's have a little chat about this test because. So when we spoke in the aftermath of England's win at Headingley, we were of the opinion that maybe Anderson and Robinson, one of Anderson and Robinson could possibly be arrested. That doesn't seem likely now, does it?
Not when I look at that surface. I look at that surface and I think, yes, there's some green grass to come off it. I'd have been tempted after seeing Jimmy at the end of the Headingley Test match to give him a break. I really would. I think there's not so much too much riding on it. I just think going to Old Trafford, I think I'd want to fit and fire in Anderson because of
it's
what
too
he is.
big a test, though, isn't it? 1-1.
Yeah,
you can't afford to lose this one. No point going to Old Trafford 2-1 down.
But if you go into Old Trafford a draw, you go in winning, and you obviously they're both crucial test matches. But I just think the hold that Anderson's got over India at this minute in time, especially when he goes back to the ground, he is a legendary status at. I just think that would give England that little bit more of an edge and a fully fit firing one with a week off. But it looks like I think he's going to play. I think it looks like England will make possibly one change, and that's Wokes for Curran. I would like Woody to play, but I think when you look at it, I think he's still struggling to
if you had to pick one, Oval or Old Trafford?
For Woody.
Which one?
Look, on a normal, if I hadn't been here, I would have said here. But I'm looking at that, I'm thinking Woody for Old Trafford now, especially if they've got a wicket which is going to be even drier. So, look, I thought Woody might have played for Anderson. I thought Wokes might have played for Curran. The problem with that is you're bringing 2 bowlers in. One hasn't bowled a lot in Wood, in Wokes, and then you've got Woody still carrying an injury. So I think that would be a bit of an ask. So let's presume that they're going to play the four bowlers who we've always questioned that can't play in the same team together. But looking at that surface, they're going to give them the conditions to suit the bowling attack.
Are we going to see Ashwin play? Because that was the other thing we were quite confident to see.
Yeah, I think I would. I think they're balanced. It's not from an India point of view. I was talking to Vivian Slaxman yesterday about it, and it's all about.
See that little name drop?
Yeah, but he was of the opinion that the balance of the side has got to change. And I think he's right. The balance, it's not about picking 4 fast bowlers, picking 3 seamers, or picking 2 spinners, or picking an extra batsman. He was talking about having an extra batsman in that side. But I think it's the balance of the side. The balance of the side has to change in a way that it marries all the way through. There's fluid. It's fluid all the way through. At this minute in time, it's not fluid. That number 6 spot, if it's Vahari, has to come in possibly to show up the bat and to get Pan to 7.
Kohli said that won't happen.
Can you pick 2 spinners and 2 seamers if that was the case? Ashwin played for Surrey less than 6 weeks ago and got 6 foot on this ground. For me, I think I'd stick with the 5 batsmen, stick with Pant at 6 as much as I think he's a walking wicket at 6. But then you shore it up by having Jadeja if he's fit, Ashwin at 8. And then do you then go Thakkor or Siraj? Because I think Siraj looks as though his batteries was running out during the Henley test. Has he got himself back in a position to recharge and get going again? I don't think Ishant Sharma's even in the equation. And you've got Bumrah and Shami who will look at that surface and be licking their lips. So that for me would be my assessment of where India are at.
I am Austin says, will it be too taxing on Anderson and Robinson if they play this test and then have to go and do it all over again at Old Trafford? Get your questions in, by the way. Hashtag Ask Harmy. We've got loads of questions through. This is kind of like where we were at before, wasn't it? But if they're both going to play, do you expect both to play? Bearing in mind, we don't know what's going to happen in this test match. Because there was a really interesting article in the Daily Mail. Paul Farbrace, who used to be the former assistant coach of England, now at Warwickshire, and is Ollie Robinson's stepdad. And he was saying he was watching the action on TV and he thought just before Robinson took Kohli's wicket, he looked a bit knackered.
Yeah.
Michael Vaughan picked up on the fact that, Ollie Robinson starts at a pace of about 82 miles an hour. When he gets tired, that starts dipping to about 79. So maybe it is that Wood will come in for a Robinson. Yeah. I can't see them dropping Anderson.
I don't see them. It's not a case of dropping. I think it's just making sure you've got a prize asset fit for the right game. And the right game probably is this game because it's the next one. It's the most important one. But I look at Anderson's record at Old Trafford and I wouldn't want to lose him and get injured or run the risk of really sort of burning him out for that last test match. Jimmy's been here before. Jimmy knows his body and he knows how to get himself in a position to play back-to-back test matches. It's not something new to Jimmy. But that would be my theory that your fast bowler comes in, you've got Wokes who can do an Anderson type job, which would be take it away from the bat, hold an end, and got a bit of experience. Robinson, I just think you keep him going. I think he's on such a crest of a wave now that I'd rather play him in this one because he's in such good form. And then if he does drop and does dip, well then you leave him out for Manchester. And I think that for me is while he's riding this crest of a wave that he's never been on internationally before, I think you actually keep him going on it. And if you can get another test match out of him, then for me that's what I would do.
KRS R says, Harmy, what is the series prediction considering the Oval in Manchester? He feels, or she feels, India has the better chance. They reckon 2-1 to India. What I will say is, if there's going to be a draw, it'll be here. I don't expect it will be a draw. And Old Trafford is almost certainly, as long as the weather doesn't do what Manchester does in September. I reckon you got 2 result pitches.
I think you've got 2 result pitches. I think you've got 2 result games. Weather set's fine. I think you've definitely got 2 result games. Looking at that surface there, I'd suggest it could come simply down to the toss. Honestly, KRSR, I promise you, it could come simply down to the toss for the simple fact this momentum shift from Lords to Headingley happened in an hour and 10 minutes, and 30 minutes of that was no cricket. The minute Virat Kohli won the toss, decides he's going to have a bat first, and for the next 35 minutes, 40 minutes, England changed the context of where the series was. England were down and out. They were gone. Absolutely gone, coming back from Lords. Wrong call at the toss. Pressure going on with the new ball. All of a sudden, momentum shift, and England are back in the ascendancy. looking at that sort of surface. If we get a deal like we did the deal we've got today, first thing tomorrow morning, I wouldn't like to call right on the toss front.
Maharashi says, should India go with 2 spinners and play Ashwin at the Oval? Well, you think that they should?
Yeah, I think they should. I think they should go with. It's not a case of 2 spinners and we think this pitch is going to turn. I think it's 2 spinners that what the all-round package they give. I think they give the all-round package of we give a bit of solidness in the middle order of the bat, and they've also got experience. Ashwin's a very, very skillful customer. If it's not turning, he'll find a way of not going for any runs, and you'll be able to rotate your bowlers. Not a problem at all. I think that's where Jadeja just struggled a little bit. But Ashwin will not. Ashwin will not struggle to do that.
Kohli didn't seem to fancy Ashwin. Fancy Jadeja, did he?
Ashwin's like Graham Swan. He's like Graham Swan. England, Graham Swan could play 4 bowlers. One of them was a spinner, 3 seamers, because Graham Swan could attack when needing to attack, and he could contain when needing to contain. He was perfect. Andrew Strauss, used him perfectly. In first innings, he knew what lines and lengths to bowl where. He didn't go for any runs. Bowlers could rotate at the other end, seamers-wise. And then when it came to the time where the ball was going to turn, he was in the game. And then India have got 2 spinners, and they can challenge that way. For me, Ashwin has to play.
Okay, let's have a quick look at what the weather. This is the weather forecast, peeps, if you can believe that. So it's going to be cloudy, sunny but cloudy, maybe a little bit. To be honest, it's been like that all summer, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mick says, do you think Mark Wood is treated fairly by the management? This year he's been exceptional, and his shift in Sri Lanka has been amazing, but it always seems as though he's an afterthought with the management. Thanks for all the vids. Well, look, one thing, look, he can't. Well, look, you're right for Mark Wood, but
no, don't mind saying.
He's not on a test contract, right?
Yeah.
This is the thing for me. He's not on a test contract. He gets injured playing for England. Now, who pays his wages?
Yeah, he's
Durham.
No, England still, because he's on a one-day contract, so ECB still pay his wages, but they don't pay him for doing what he's doing. He's playing Test match cricket, and I've had this conversation with Mark a couple of times, and without sort of having his response, but I've been saying to him, it's not when you are available for Test matches, it's up to them to pick you. If they don't pick you, then it's not your problem. That's a frustrating thing for me with them not getting a Test match contract. Besto's the same. Moeen Ali's the same now. England have got players in this Test team who aren't on Test match contracts. So that's something that the ECB are going to have to look at. And I tell you what, I think it's going to be interesting. You've got the Ashes coming up round the corner. These next round of central contracts could be interesting to see who does go to the Ashes and who doesn't go to the Ashes. Because if you're not on a Test contract, or you're not on a contract, you're getting asked to go to somewhere for 3.5 months, the quarantine that Australia are asking for, and no families and stuff. Oh, I think there might be a few of them saying, well, where's my sort of backing from that front? So I think I don't think he's mismanaged by any stretch of the imagination. I think he's such a nice lad. It's he becomes an easy option. I think sometimes when he gets left out, it's an easy option when Chris Silverwood has come out countless times, and Joe Root and a few others have said, we are trying to protect Mark Wood. I'm like, well, no, you're not protecting him. Because if you're protecting him, you'd be playing him. He wants to play. England's, every single player wants to play cricket for England. Mark Wood's no different. So for me, when they say, oh, we're trying to protect him, it's an easy option to say, oh, well, we haven't got any fast bowlers, so we'll rest him, we'll look after him. Well, no, because if I was Mark Wood, I'd be going, no, I want to play. I want to play. If I miss this week and I miss next week, and you play me the week after and I want me to bowl 95 mile an hour, there's more chance of me getting injured because I haven't played for 2 weeks. My body's softened up. I want to play. Let me at them. His body hasn't had the track record that he's got a great argument there. But this time, from an injury point of view, he got injured by diving for a ball. Told him many times. That's what your size 12s are for. Fast bowlers don't dive for balls. Fast bowlers put the feet out. If the ball goes for 4, it goes for 4 in a Test match. Different than one-day cricket, but for me, I was like, well, I wouldn't be diving for that ball.
G. Paul asked a good question and a topical one about Joss Buttler, but Joe Root, England captain, was speaking yesterday about the suggestion that maybe Joss has played his last Test for England. Let's hear what he had to say.
the case at all with Josh from a personal point of view. I see someone that's desperate to perform well in the Test arena. I think he loves the Test game, and he's a big part of our team. So as far as I'm concerned, it's I hope it's a really enjoyable week for him, something that's extremely memorable, and whenever it is that he's available to play again.
So as you'd expect, really, Butler's going to come back into the side, and he's a valuable part of the team, and of course he's one of the wise counsel, I suppose. I mean, G. Paul just says many are saying that Josh Butler played his last Test. I think you said it yourself. He didn't say he has definitely played his last Test. No. He said it's going to be difficult for him to get back into the side if Bairstow and Pope take their chance. We're expecting Pope to play, by the way, as he might not play the Ashes. Do you think so? Looking at his recent form, is his absence a blessing in disguise for England? So I guess by that means, essentially, you're replacing. I think we're saying that Bairstow's keeping will be as good as Butler's, I imagine. So it's whether Pope, the batsman, is going to improve upon Butler, the batsman. Yeah,
I think that's what we're waiting to see. There's a lot of talk, and I was of the opinion, I still am of the opinion, that you earn the right to get a shirt, and if that shirt is given back, you've got to work hard to get that back. Now, I'll argue why was Sam Billings brought into this group, because he's never played much first-class cricket, full stop. We've played 5 players this summer without any first-class cricket this summer, and Butler was one of them. And where does he get his chance to get his place back if Pope and Bairstow go and do hopefully what England want them to do, which is score runs and take catches? It's a tough one on Joss, because I think Joss gives you a lot more than just catching and batting. I really do. I watch from afar, and I see his all-round demeanour. I think is brilliant for Joe Root. I think the two of them are two very wise heads leading what you would say is a relatively inexperienced England side, or a side with not much. What am I trying to say? You've got players in this side who maybe have played quite a few games, but they're not regulars in the side. They're not settled in the side, and it's not. If there's a new man comes in, right, 3 or 4, they'll look after him. Make sure he's good in the dressing room. Make sure he's all right. Try and lead him down the road. You've got players in this side who are still questioning their own place. I'm thinking of it, the likes of Burns. There's quite a few. Burns has played a lot of games, but I'm still questioning whether he's the right man to go in at the top.
Well, if you think about it, Burns, Hamid, Milan, Bairstow. Because I put that question to Bairstow: do you see yourself as one of the leaders in the group? And he's after Anderson and Root. He's played more Test cricket than anyone, but he was out the side 3 Tests ago. But Johnny Bairstow's played more Tests. I think this week he goes past someone like Michael Vaughan. The week after it, Marcus Trescothick. Yeah. I think the next week if he plays, he goes to someone like Alan Lamb. It's the amount of Johnny Bairstow has played. Even Moeen Ali played a lot of cricket, and you're questioning whether they should be in the side or not. Chris Woakes. But that's part of the problem, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
The way that England are on about.
That's where the red ball cricket is at this moment in time. So that's what I mean by Joss as such. It's not just about batting and keeping. There's a presence in this side, and there's an all-round demeanour that Joss gives off, which I think is leadership quality. So I think to say he's played his last Test match, I think that's up to Pope and Bairstow for me. Because how can you drop somebody who have both got runs, maybe he's got catches, where what I was trying to say on the Following On podcast of the Cricket Collective, that Joss hasn't got a record to back up to go, you know what, that ball got there to do this week, I'll be back next week or the week after. Yeah. He hasn't got that, unfortunately. It's
not like Ben Stokes.
Yeah, it's not Stokes. Stokes walks back into this team where unfortunately for Joss, he hasn't got the average of 45 to come and say, you know what,
I'm 8 or 9 Test centuries.
I've got I'll walk straight back in this time. And that's what I meant last week when I said I didn't think it was his last Test match, but it could be if things go right for that middle order.
Okay, well look, you've got to get up there in a few minutes' time for your meet and greet. There's a lot of people who spend a lot of money so they can ask this man questions. You're going to do it for free. SAYAK says, what would be your go-to delivery to thwart Joe Root?
I spoke about this yesterday. It's not so much the delivery. I think India have got to look at their field positions, and they've got to stop that run down to third man or beyond backward point. I think you want early in the innings, you want Joe to hit in front square. For me, you want him to hit either through mid wicket or you want him to hit through extra cover, because at this minute in time he is defending so late, and the gaps in the ring, in the corner ring, the sort of slip corner of the ring, he keeps getting off strike, and it's too easy, and he basically milks the bowlers. So the bowler never gets a chance of pressure, and in and around that off stump area, he's still vulnerable around there, and that would be the ball that you try to get him out with. But I think the ones how you get him to that position is you stop him from scoring runs, and the stopping from scoring runs bit is you just milk bowlers. At this minute in time, once he's been in for 30 balls, he's got 25 runs, and you go, wow, where's he getting that from? And all of a sudden, he is very difficult to remove from there. So I think it's more field positioning for India to get that right and to keep hitting an area outside of stump, because they're bowling balls in good areas, but he's scoring runs off them. And that, for me, is the difference between where Joe Root's at now and where Joe Root was a couple of years ago. His defensive technique is getting in a position to play the ball so late. He's getting runs for good defensive shots or for good balls bowled at him, where in the previous past, maybe he's fallen over a bit. He's had 5 or 6 stop balls, pushed that one, nicked it or missed it, and then he's been getting out. For me, that's the difference of where Joe's at now compared to where he was before.
Okay, get your questions in to ask Harmy. Let's have a look at what Mani Shukla says. Why does everyone say Rahane is a good player outside India when his average in England 2018 was 25? His average in Australia in 2018 was 31. In New Zealand 2020, it was 22. And in Australia 2020, it was 31. He's averaging 21 in this series. Why have India not dropped him and picked Vihari instead?
Oh, good homework, that. Yeah. Well done. Very good, Manny. I can't argue with what you're saying there.
It's not just about statistics.
A bit like Butler. It's not like stats. It's about...
But it will be at some point. But Rahane played a big innings, didn't he?
If Kohli's not getting runs, I think Rahane or Pujara would have gone by now. I think the reason why they're both still on the side is because Kohli's struggling as well. And what happened in Australia, winning after Kohli went home, Rahane leading, I think it would be very, very difficult, I think, for Indians to believe, you know what, why isn't we dropping him? Oh, because he led us so well and we won. And I think that is I think possibly what's fighting the dressing room at this minute in time. How can you drop Virat Kohli? You can't. It's simple as that. He's one of the best that's ever played this game. Rahane is a good player, a fantastic player. So is Pujara. And I've said this many times on countless people. The difference between dropping somebody at the age they're at, the part of their careers they're at, you're retiring them. They're not coming back. Ishant Sharma, for me, is probably not going to come back and play international cricket if he doesn't play this week. If Kohli backs him and he plays this week, fair enough. But if he doesn't play this week, I think you struggle to see Ishant Sharma coming back. That would possibly be the same against Pujara and Rahane. So I think Kohli is the key because he's not scoring runs. What you could do is you could bring an extra batsman in, Vihari bat at number 6, and then go down the 3-seamer spin bowler route, which possibly could happen. And whether that's Jadeja if he's fit, or Jadeja if he's not fit, Ashwin comes in at 8, and then your 3-seamers. If you want to strengthen the baton, I think that's the way I think they possibly could go, rather than leaving Rahane out. For me, you leave Pujara and Rahane in, see how they go till the end of the series, you back your greats. And if they don't perform, then you move on for them for the next series, and they probably don't play ever again for India.
SHAILESWAR says, who do you think is the best amongst Root, Smith, Kohli and Williamson? Now, this is a conversation that if you'd asked the question last year, it would have been a different answer, and the year before it would have been a different answer again. So let's just say, if all these 4, their career was to stop today, which one would you say is the best?
I would say Virat. I think Virat Kohli is the best batsman I've seen in the modern day generation. Since I finished playing cricket in 2009, I think he's been the best player I've seen. So I'll go off that. Williamson, Root, Smith, fantastic fantastic players. They're all great players. So, let's not put 1, 2, 3, and 4.
It's Kohli.
But I think the best from visually, I think from technically, I think pressure, situation, everything that goes with test match, modern day batting, the all-round game, I'd just go for Virat Kohli. At this minute in time, best player in the world is Joe Root. ICC rankings tells you that. This calendar year tells you that. And he's making the gap between the other three a little bit bigger. But I'm still of the opinion that Kohli's the best modern day batsman I have seen. And there's one missing from that as well, I think, and that's Babar Azam, because I think he's a fantastic player as well.
Okay, the answer actually is Smith. Steve Smith is the best. I think over a 4-year period, the numbers are just ridiculous. But aesthetically, technique, he's not the best. But for me,
pleasing on the eye.
He's not pleasing on the eye at all. It's horrible to watch. But also, he hasn't played any Test cricket this year, so that's why he's probably behind Joe Root. Okay, last question. Do we have one more question, or are we going to we'll wrap it up with a prediction? Harmy, prediction for this Test match? Well, it's down to the toss, is it? So England lose a toss, they lose, do they?
Not necessarily, but I think that comes down to how you go with your discipline. England lose a toss and have to bat first against India seamers on this surface. I think England could, because of the experience of playing in English conditions and going with that, then I think England would be more suited to get through that passage of play. England bowl first on overhead conditions, a bit like what they had at Henley, on a surface which has got a little bit in it. If Joe decided that that's the way to go, and you've got Anderson, Robinson, Wokes and Overton, then I think England are more suited to exploit that early passage of play. So I think it comes down to who gets it through the first 2 hours the best, and that could largely come down to where this game goes. But for me, I said last week, the way England have momentum shifted, I'm back in my books. I think England will win. I still think England will win the series, and we could have by lunchtime on day one very good idea where this Test match is going, looking at that surface right now.
Brilliant stuff. Well, look, whatever happens, we'll be back following day 1 and day 2, day 3, day 4 if he gets in. I'm not sure what state Harmy's going to be in.
I'll be fine.
But I'll be sober. And we'll be here to answer questions. We're going to bring you moment of the day, Harmy's prediction, comments section. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, review, tell your mates. And Harmy, get over there and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.